We are following several developments surrounding the immigration operations, protest, and political fallout. We want to thank you for joining us. I'm Kathy Varrett.
And I'm Carolyn Johnson. Michael and Colleen are off. We begin, though, with this stunning moment at the Department of Homeland Security news conference in Westwood. Senator Alex Padilla forcibly removed while trying to question Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. She was in Los Angeles to support the Trump administration's immigration operations across the city. Let's go now to Lolita Lopez outside the federal building with reaction to all of this. Lolita.
And Carolyn, part of that operation is what you see behind me. The National Guard here federalized to be here outside of the federal building in Westwood and again at the Federal Detention Center downtown Los Angeles. But going back to that press conference, Senator Padilla became emotional as he spoke to the media outside some minutes and about an hour later discussing what happened then. But let's take you back to those moments that happened inside the press conference. Take a listen.
That has been able to do this.
Hands up.
Also, I want to talk.
Sir, hands up. I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the Secretary because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your.
I also want to
Hands up.
Yeah, this is the moment when Senator Alex Padilla stood up during the press conference with the Homeland Security Secretary and other federal agencies. He announced he was the sitting U.S. Senator and says he was attempting to ask a question about the people detained across Los Angeles and immigration raids that started last week. NBC4 recording as the senator was forced on the ground and handcuffed. Nearly an hour after the event inside the federal building, Senator Padilla made a statement about what happened, explaining he was awaiting a briefing from federal officials about recent immigration raids as part of his responsibility as a senator to provide oversight. He says he went to the press conference to gather information after previous inquiries had gone unanswered.
If this is how this administration responds to a senator with a question, if this is how the Department of Homeland Security responds to a senator with a question, you can only imagine what they're doing to farm workers, to cooks, to day laborers out in the Los Angeles community and throughout California and throughout the country.
The senator says he was not arrested or detained and he did not take questions as he left.
No one knew he was there. No one was expecting him. He stood up and started yelling and was aggressively approaching the Secretary of Home.
You think it was aggressive?
He was being very aggressive.
We spoke one-on-one with the U.S. Attorney for the Central District of California, Bill Saley, who was part of today's press conference. We asked him about concerns that government leaders like Senator Padilla have been expressing, including not being allowed into federal detentions where people are being held. Congressional leaders have not been let in to see what's happening there.
That's not true. They're showing up unannounced. They're trying to make a scene and a spectacle. There's a polite way to do it. This is not it in our system of government.
Now, the Homeland Security Secretary says that the senator and she met actually after the press conference was over, and before he left today, we were able to catch up with her. Here's what she said about that conversation.
I wish that he would have reached out and identified himself and let us know who he was and that he wanted to talk. His approach, was something that I don't think was appropriate at all. But the conversation was great, and we're going to continue to communicate.
Now, when the senator left today, he did not give details about that meeting, but he did say he would be remaining open to discussing this more. So we're going to continue to reach out to him, and we do expect to hear more from the senator throughout the afternoon. But for now, that's the very latest from the federal building in Westwood. Lolita Lopez, NBC4 News.
All right. Thank you, Lolita. Democrats reacted to the incident with Senator Padilla on the Senate floor today. Here's what Senator Elizabeth Warren had to say.
What happened at this press conference was disgraceful, it was un-American, and every member of the United States Senate should condemn it and condemn it now.
Senator Warren said she is calling on her Republican colleagues to join in a bipartisan investigation into this incident. Meanwhile, we are awaiting a federal judge to rule on an emergency motion by the state of California to stop the president's use of the National Guard and Marines here in Los Angeles. NBC News confirms the judge appears to be leaning toward ruling the Trump administration did not have the authority to send in the National Guard to help with immigration protests. The big sticking point, the Trump administration did not alert Governor Newsom about the decision, despite being legally required to do so. Now, today's hearing ended just after 2:30. The judge said he hopes to have an order out tonight.